Tulsa County clerk is refusing to marry a lesbian couple, even though they went through the court system and received word from a U.S. district judge by the name of Terence Kern that they are allowed to get married in the state of Oklahoma. Now, the court clerk, Sally Howe Smith, says, no, this goes against my beliefs. I don't want to marry them. I totally disagree with this. Keep in mind that the lesbian couple has been together for 17 years. So this is a serious relationship. They just want to get married and move on with their lives. Well, the lawyers for the county clerk who refuses to marry the lesbian couple have argued that marriage is about furthering potentially procreative sexual relationships into stable unions rather than recognizing the love and commitment of two people. Plaintiffs reduce marriage from an institution that exists to benefit children in society and relegate it to a mere stamp through which a government approves loving emotional unions between adult couples.
Okay, so let's get this right. If you can't conceive and you're not in the procreation business, then you have no business getting married.
Yeah.
So why don't they ask people when they come in if they're a straight couple? Like we know a straight couple who got married who has no interest in kids. So if they say that, sorry, nope, not going to give it to you, not going to give you the license. Well, okay, which by the way is what, 20%? Anna, you said one out of five?
Yeah, 1 in 5 couples in the United States either don't have children by choice or they can't conceive and they don't want to adopt.
Well, let's be fair. Let's give them some time period, right? Because some of them are trying. But after 10 years, if you haven't been able to conceive,
you got to get a divorce.
You got to get a divorce, okay?
That's the only reason why people get married. I mean, that's the only purpose for marriage, right?
It's procreation. I know when Ham spilled his seed on the ground, God was very upset, and he smote him, or whatever God does. By the way, he was having sex with his brother's wife.
Classy.
Yeah, and God was not mad that he was having sex with his brother's wife. He was mad that he didn't ejaculate inside his brother's wife. Oh. Okay, that's in the Bible. Go ahead and read it. Okay, so now after 10 years, all you people who didn't have kids, sorry, that's it. You're gonna have to divorce. Plus, once women go through menopause, well, you can't conceive. So what's the point of marriage? I'm going to need an immediate divorce. Okay. So let's wrap it up.
But it's consistent with the belief system that a lot of religious people have, right? And that belief system is, who cares about adults? Who cares about people that already exist? Let's think about like theoretical situations. Let's think about possible children or zygotes. That's what we want to protect, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not interested in having children, you should get married. If you're not interested in conceiving, you shouldn't have sex. Like everything is about this, mystical child. And then as soon as that child is born, who cares about that person, right? Let's focus on bashing the parents and then, forcing them and encouraging them to have more kids.
One last piece of context here. Look, the reason that all that stuff's in the Old Testament is because about 3,000 years ago, roughly, the Israelites needed to beat the Canaanites and the Philistines, etc. And they had about 7,000 people and the other guys, and these are very rough numbers that I'm partly making up, but they were very, very limited, okay, the numbers. And the Canaanites had 8,000 people. So they needed to create more kids so they could have more soldiers so they could beat the Canaanites. We don't live in that world anymore. We've got 7 billion people on planet Earth. Okay, that stuff was written thousands of years ago in an entirely different context. Now, most people recognize this, most Christians recognize this, but some that would like to practice hatred think, yeah, good enough excuse. You're a lesbian couple. No, I'm worried about conception. Sorry, I deny you.
Yeah.
No, it's just because you're hateful and you didn't want them to get married. You didn't want them to have the same rights that you do.
So there's the anti-gay angle to this, and I think that's the primary reason why they're arguing this in court, obviously. But then there's like a wider societal issue where there's always a lot of pressure on people to have kids. And so if that 1 in 5 American couple decides, hey, you know what, we don't want to have children, they get judged by so many people. And I've never really understood that before. Because if it doesn't impact your life, if it doesn't stop you from procreating and having kids, why do you care if this random couple, whether they're your friends or family members, don't want to have children? Who gives a damn?
Well, so there's 2 reasons for that. One is, again, a culture left over from a different context. It's not just the religions. It's that, like, even my grandmother lived in a different world. Remember, my dad, growing up in southeastern Turkey, had no electricity in his house, no refrigerator, didn't even have a clock, okay? They knew when to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go tend the fields, etc. So my grandmother was pregnant 6 times, but only carried 2 to term, right?
Oh,
so now that happens all the time. That
Yeah.
was one grandmother. The other grandmother had even bigger problems in delivering kids. So the idea was have as many kids as you possibly can, and plus they help on the farm. That's why it's really important to have that many kids, right? And so that culture remains in a context that has completely changed.
I think there's also a lot of envy. I got to keep it real. I
So
see that
was
a lot.
yeah, that was the second point I was going to go
Yeah.
to.
So like, let me just jump in really quick. The sense that I get from friends and family members that have children is they have to, I mean, obviously you have to sacrifice so much of yourself and your life in order to raise kids. And then you see these couples that are all footloose and fancy free, you know, they don't have any kids. Like they're going to whatever, vacations and whatever they're doing, bingo night.
Whoa, you're getting to go to bingo night.
Right?
I'm kind of pissed.
And I think that there's like a little bit of envy. So it's like, so when are you gonna have children? You're
Yeah.
like, get off my balls. I don't want children. You know?
Right. This got weirdly personal at some point.
Sorry.
Look, I'm having a lot of fun with my kids, so if you want to do that, I think that's great for you. But if you think that's not right for you, what business is it of mine?
Yeah.
But for the people who are like weighed down by the kids, they're like, no, you got to have kids too. Well, it's not fair. You're running around, right?
It goes against my religion, the religion of do you. Right?
That's right. You're starting to actually build this cult thing a little bit.
I'm building it. I'm building it because I want people to live their lives and enjoy it, right? So if people are judging you for your lifestyle choice that doesn't harm anyone else, don't pay attention, do you. You're a follower of that religion.
Well, ironically, that was what was prohibited in the Bible, doing you.
Well, you can do that you too if you want to. Why not?
Why not indeed? I've always thought, even when I was like told that we were religious and whatever, right? Again, I didn't grow up that religious, but like we were told that's wrong. And I was like, no God I know would be against that.
Okay, so I grew up in going to church and all of that. No one ever sat me down and said, Anna, you are not allowed to diddle yourself. It's against our religion. Like really? Who had that conversation with you? Who told you
No, that's okay, so that's the funny part. The idea that my parents would have that conversation with me is, if you go to the 2-shot, Jesus, inconceivable. Okay.
Same here.
Okay.
Yeah.
The idea that my mom would
Oh
talk
my
about,
God.
no way. And my dad, okay, Cenk, this is very important. You cannot touch down there, okay? There is no the masturbation, okay? You cannot jerk it, you cannot pull it, you cannot tug it. It is forbidden, okay?